And there's our introduction. That's New York Vinnie. He's in Seattle, Washington, wearing his New York Mets shirt from Shea Stadium. No, that's not New York Vinnie. That's a
Just seeing if you're
frozen.
paying attention.
That was a good one.
Like that?
That was beautifully done.
That's what you call play dead. With your eyes open, though. How are you, Michael? He's Michael Knight, and he's in Los Angeles, California. Pasadena to be correct. And we all are here on Facebook Live, as we are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 10:10 to 11:10 or so. And we are
Today,
entertainment, information, maybe a song, maybe a dance.
There's possibility of a dance. There's also a possibility that our broadcast center here in Southern California could be blown off the air as we're having thunderstorms this morning in LA. All the monsoonal moisture from the four corners south of us came into LA's basin. We got thunderstorms, rain, temperatures on their way to the 90s, overcast skies, everything you need. When you see flashes of lightning in the morning, that gives you some idea what kind of day you're going to have.
Sounds like the Ohio Valley. Never mind Southern California.
Yeah, we just hope there's no fire started by the lightning, because that's what we do not need. We had a brief brush fire in the Hollywood Hills yesterday that could have been. I don't even want to tell you how it was so dry yesterday. They got to it in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the unfortunate part of the year that we're heading into now, is when we see the fires kind of ramp up a little bit because everything is so dry that the slightest match or any kind of spark, a backfire from a car. Now I don't know if the problem is as prevalent down there as it is up here, but are you getting the epidemic of stolen catalytic converters?
Oh yes, right. They'll take them right off your car parked in front of your apartment building.
Yeah, folks really got to be careful, because the exhaust pre-catalytic converter. So if you're just running a pipe now from where the catalytic converter was, it is much more likely that your car will send some kind of flame out of that catalytic converter, especially if you drive a stick shift.
Especially if you're parked alongside the road in the Snoqualmie Pass.
Well, up here, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If I was in Eastern Washington, or if I was in Southern California or Central California, it would be something I would definitely be worrying about, because the dry, if you pull over, even if you start your car and it backfires while you're starting it, there's nothing to arrest that flame. So that flame now comes right out of your exhaust pipe. And if you're sitting on a little tall, few tall blades of straw there, you got a recipe for disaster.
It happens in a hurry. I always tell the story that happened when I was in Wenatchee, somewhere near Lake Chelan. Some guys were target practicing legally and safely, but their ordnance, the brass pops out and starts to fire right at their feet. And with two guys working on it, they couldn't put the fire out fast enough. It got the better of them, drove them out of the place, and burned for several days. It just shows you when the conditions are right, two guys in their boots do not stand up against an infant. A fire in its infancy that's only seconds old takes over and grows beyond your ability to fight it.
Well, if you know how dry it is, let me ask you the crazy question. Why don't you have a fire extinguisher with you in case something like that happens?
Well, I think experienced marksmen would probably do just that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, that's a possibility. You know how dry it is. At least have a bucket of water or something around.
You don't always appreciate how hot that ordnance is, because you don't touch it every time, and it sits there on the ground and it's innocent enough, and in 30 seconds it's cooler. So you don't think about it. But when it comes out, when it kicks out, it is it's a match.
Yeah, and you get that. Yeah, it's probably hotter than the head of a match when it comes out of a rifle. And yeah, it's there are so many things that can cause a spark, a flame, that can blow up a whole neighborhood. a whole forest. I mean, you see it with the electric wires. You get one of those, one of those high voltage wires that aren't shielded, or the shielding has worn off of them, and they start throwing electric sparks around. The pole catches on fire. Once the pole catches on fire, the fire is down, and it now, hits the grass. And the next thing you know, and these things can happen in places where there isn't anybody standing there for miles.
And when there's nobody around. In fact, that's what you call the PG&E fires of Northern California that have destroyed so many towns. All started with live power lines coming down in winds and in weather conditions where the old pole and the old line's just not going to be up there for, it's been through 20 winters, and it's a mess and it's frail. And when it comes down, it brings the power of PG&E with it. And man, you've got a wall of fire burning toward a city.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it up in Paradise. We've seen it.
Yeah. Santa Rosa.
In Santa Rosa. We've even seen it. Well, that was an explosion. But yeah, PG&E doesn't seem to have a really good handle on their safety program.
You know what they do that really enrages people is when the weather conditions are ripe now, instead of just saying, we didn't know, they just turn off everybody's power in the affected area.
Yeah.
Everybody's power. And that gets to be annoying when they say they're going to turn it off and they don't turn it off, or they don't say they're going to turn it off and they do turn it off. And they say they're going to turn it back on, but they don't. It drives customers bananas.
Well, at least the thing, Michael, that I look at is that we have a government who is by the people, of the people, and for the people.
Yeah, sometimes.
And no pressure from politicians on other politicians to find votes for somebody. No suggestions of, we'll send you some coins.
No.
Some presidential coins.
Do you collect coins, Vinnie? Because if you collect coins, I've got 1 million of them that you might want to look over.
You mean the Donald Trump 2020? The Donald Trump 2020 election coins, 2021 inauguration coins.
And who's on the flip side? It's Biff Jiggerman for another year. Biff bought the flip side of the Trump coin. And by the way, the Trump coin is now worth less than Bitcoin. So go with the light.
That ain't easy because Bitcoin is in the toilet.
I remember when Bitcoin was $800, $8,000, $11,000 on its way up. Now it's dipped under $20,000, and people are wringing their hands. And I'm going, it's still worth more than it used to be. And you made it up to begin with. It's just a concept. So get rid of the idea that your concept is losing money. It never was worth any money. It's just as a game.
Yeah, maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I just don't follow along with the world like I used to. I don't know, but I absolutely do not get the whole concept of Bitcoin and blockchains and NFTs. I mean, you're buying a fart in the breeze, man.
And it's a nice fart, but it's more than enough in the breeze to disappear, and not overnight, within the instant, gone forever.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how a sane person puts their money into this stuff. And now you have all these businesses that are accepting it online and stuff like that. Oh, you want to buy something from us? Well, yeah, we'll take the money in Bitcoin.
Do you think Tesla will take their payment in Bitcoin today?
I think that Musk has probably changed his tune on it. But he's like one of the biggest proponents of it, isn't he?
Yeah, but as they say in the car business, I got to talk to the guy in the back. Find out if we're taking Bitcoin today.
I think George Washington said it best when he said, let me talk to my sales manager first.
That's right. You don't make a decision like that without talking to the man who knows where the money's spent and where it's buried and what it's really worth. And how much, as they say in the dealership business, how much do we have in this car? We got nothing. The bank owns it. Get rid of it. Sell it today.
Don't charge him the $2,500 for the tire waxing warranty.
And the 25-point inspection. Don't forget that. 25 points, mind you.
Oh, Mikey. It's now, obviously you watched the hearings yesterday.
I certainly did. And the update. I got myself all filled in.
I I was just so angry yesterday, so pissed off. I mean, I literally wanted to get on a plane and fly to Mar-a-Lago, knock on Trump's front door. When he came to the door to answer it, just punch him right in the face. Just cave his teeth in. I just.
This is a different day, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Vinnie advocating violence, and I'm just sitting here quiet. Usually it's the other way around. But Vinnie's pissed off today.
Well, how in the world can anybody back this guy? You're backing a guy that is looking to incite violence. You're backing a guy that is looking to demean people. You're backing a guy who will lie about anybody.
And everything.
And everything. And not care about the collateral cost to it. He doesn't care. Trump's probably sitting there watching that thing yesterday, laughing his ass off.
There's one guy on the planet that has never, ever looked back, and that is not a compliment.
I don't understand it. I really can't believe that anyone would want to have their name associated with him, would want to have. I mean, this guy is a bad human being.
What about Herschel Walker? Should they play Parcheesi together?
It appears to me, and I'd be wrong, but it appears to me that you'd have to spot Herschel Walker the entire game.
Parcheesi's a bitch, okay? Parcheesi's not an easy game. A lot of people laugh at the idea, but Herschel will go down hard.
Boy, I mean, let me tell you something. If the people of Georgia elect Herschel Walker as their senator over Ralph Warnock, then I think the republic is done. Then I think it's time to figure out which states we want to let go, which states we want to keep, and start the ball rolling.
Start assigning for, what do they call it in baseball? Designated for assignment.
Yeah. DFA. Start DFA in states, man.
Dear Georgia, you have been. Dear West Virginia, hello.
Dear Georgia, we gave you several opportunities and you came close.
Dear Florida, DFA.
When you elected Herschel Walker, sorry, it was just too. Now people will say, well, why don't you like Herschel Walker? Because listen to him.
He's dumber than a mud fence, and he's not quite, as they say in Britain, his stamps are wet, okay? Something's not right there. Somebody wet their stamps, and now you must either affix it to the bill or discard them. Wet stamps are no good.
He got hit in the head a few too many times.
Ooh. And I know how that takes a toll over time.
I mean, you could have, he could be a sports star. He could go to banquets. He can do what he's going to do. He can have 6 kids that he doesn't tell anybody he knows about, which I believe is bull. But when you have a kid, and you're Herschel Walker. Now, if you're telling me that the guy next door here has a kid, he doesn't know about it, maybe I'm buying that. But not when your picture is pasted all over the front page of the paper once a month for something.
Well, you bring up an interesting idea that CNN at CNN.com addressed today. And their conclusion is that the GOP now does not stand to support the troops, does not stand for law and order, does not stand for America first. It's just the party first with no platform, with no candidate that has honor or respect or an ability to speak the truth. It's a party of lies and bigger lies and candidates willing to go along with those lies just to get elected, just to serve in Congress, just to get their place at the trough, just to become part of the problem, so that when legislation gets to the House or goes to the Senate, their answer is, I don't care what it is. The answer is no. We're not here to help you. We're not here to serve you. We're not here to better your conditions. The answer is no. We're the GOP. We stand for nothing, for zip.
They got nothing, Michael. They
zero.
have nothing that can attract me to voting for one. I mean, the only time I ever voted for one is when they were on an issue that I felt deeply about, and they just did a better job than the Democrat. They got some things done, but that was 10 years ago. And you know what? It ain't the case anymore.
It's not the way the world works anymore.
It's not. Chris Rock said this many years ago, and I've always agreed with him, that politics has become like street gangs. You have the Republicans and you have the Democrats, and they're looking to totally destruct each other. There's no gentlemanly or gentlewomanly exchange of ideas or anything.
It's true. And it's evolved that way, but the party is happy about it. I mean, remember Mitch McConnell saying, if we win, I'll tell you what we're for.
Yeah.
And that sounds like jive, but actually it's the truth. He doesn't know what he's for yet. He has no idea what he wants to pass or work on or present in terms of laws to be considered for passage in the Senate. He doesn't know. And if he did know, he wouldn't tell you. So he says, all I can tell you is if we win, we'll figure it out then. And it's not important to have a platform that is responsible for the victory, that earn the vote of the individual. They haven't got anything to ask for except get us in there and we'll tell you what we're up to once we take office. And you can trust us. We're the Republicans. We're not for anything.
Isn't every human being supposed to stand for something? I mean, isn't that the idea of life? That you're supposed to have principles and you're supposed to have certain things that you stand for.
Wasn't that the theme of yesterday's hearings in the select committee? Republicans who stood up against the machine because they had the honor, they had personal honor and a personal stake in the decision that they had to make.
Yeah, and the guy from Arizona, man,
Rusty.
I was listening to him, and he was talking about his faith and this, that, and if that's what gets you there,
I know.
God bless you.
That's Rusty. He'll be okay. I hope the good people of Arizona bring him back to office.
Well, that's the funny thing is you just don't know these days. You don't know what these people are thinking. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know any. You just have no idea because they've permeated our society. And the thing to figure out now, is this just a trend? Is this something that's going to be over in a year or two?
No.
Or is this something that we're going to be living with for the next 20 years?
I think the trend of messing it up is going to continue. The tools they use to mess it up may change from time to time, whatever presents itself to them. Right now, they're messing with the votes. Right now, they're messing with the safety of poll workers. They're messing with the reputations of people who did nothing. And they're lying about it. And they're lying right to the Senate, right to the House of Representatives, right all over Capitol Hill, in every state capital, in every place, in every county seat where there's elections going on. The Republican Party has instilled this hatred of the truth and a wall of lies to present in place of a position on a matter that should be voted on by intelligent people. Now it's just bring out your hate, bring out your vote.
How hard is it going to be? I suspect it's going to be very hard to get people to work at the polls.
Yep. Makes me want to do it.
Unless, as you know, Michael, I worked at the polls in Pennsylvania for 6 years and was elected I elected myself, but I was elected chief inspector of elections.
What did you do?
I sat there and made sure that their signatures matched their voting, their signature in the book. You tried to make sure that people were them. And even back then, 6-7 years ago, it's about 8 years ago now, the Republicans that came by to watch the polls were always 5 times more creepy than any Democrat they sent in.
The creep factor was noticeable.
Yeah, it really was. It really absolutely was. There was a creep factor among the people that they sent in that made you either A, nervous, B, afraid, or C, unable to do your job because you were laughing so hard.
Were the poll watchers, did they interfere with any operation?
No. Well, we wouldn't let them in the poll. They had to stay outside of a certain area until 8 o'clock when polling closed. Then you could let them in the area where you count the votes, because Pennsylvania has a weird, well, Allegheny County does. I don't know about all of Pennsylvania, but Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is located, has a really interesting system. Because they don't have a lot of absentee ballots, because people aren't conditioned to use them like they are here, they send the absentee ballots out to the polling places.
Huh.
And the poll workers have to count the absentee ballots. Then they wrap them up, put them in an envelope with the tally sheet, and send it into the big room.
Send it to Slovakia.
Where they count, that they're contracted to count the ballots.
They don't count Trump votes in Slovakia. You know, they only count Biden votes there.
So I could see, I could see where somebody could raise questions about an election there if they used that system. But I know that they were getting ready to go when I left. We're getting ready to go to a more improved system where they tallied the vote, the absentees, actually at the election headquarters.
Right. They can count them ahead of time.
And then, so they would have a tally right when, because that's why the votes always took so long in Pennsylvania, because you had to have all of the precincts report in.
Well, do you think you'll volunteer in your neighborhood for the next?
Well, election? I'm thinking about it. I mean, I don't want to have somebody come with a gun and stick it in my face.
I don't want that either.
I don't want to have to get into arguments with people.
I don't want to do that.
But I also believe that our vote is a sacred right. And maybe I never went to war. Maybe I never held a gun and shot at people to protect it. But I believe that by working at the polls, in my own way, I'm protecting what those people that came before me and fought in wars protected.
The right, the concept, the whole
concept, the whole thing. So I don't know. I actually started thinking about that pretty soon, or actually was thinking about it, and have started to make inquiries about, how and where I would work. There's actually a job open in Snohomish County for a person to go out and recruit people to vote.
Door to door?
No,
at
you
the
set
shopping
up
center
events and things like that. So you go to like street fairs and stuff like that.
I got you.
Hey, everybody, come register to vote. So I don't know. I got to think, do I want that hassle in my life at 66 years old?
I bet that you would probably have a pretty even experience on the west side of Washington State. Now, on the east side, where people are more knee-jerk in reaction to doing what Donald Trump wants, I would think there have been more threats to poll workers, more unrest, more resignations, more vacancies, and more people happy with the chaos.
Yeah, well, they have this guy, Lauren Culp, who is the former police chief of, I don't know, Dingo, Washington or something like that.
I've been there. It's a lovely, lovely town.
You go to Wenatchee and you make a right. Well, wait a minute. It's to the left. Well, we don't go left in Wenatchee. We only make rights.
You're not going to go right. When you get to Washtuckner, give me a ring.
Pick up a milkshake and come back.
And don't get the chocolate. I'm telling you, do not eat the chocolate milkshake. Get out of Washtuckner.
There's terrible rumors about what the chocolate's really made from. So anyway, this guy is, last year he was running for governor and he lost that. So this year he's running for Senate.
Oh boy.
Against, I think he's running against Patty Murray.
Oh, national, not state Senate.
Oh no, he's running. He wants to go to Washington. He says there's a big party going on there for people like me who believe in fascism.
So he's in Washington, but he wants to go to Washington.
Right. So I'm ready to go. And he's got about this much chance of beating Patty Murray.
No, she knows where the bodies are buried.
Right. But you know, there used to be a guy.
Didn't there always?
Yeah, it really is. All these stories seem to start with a guy.
There used to be this guy.
There used to be this guy named Foley.
Red Foley?
And no one Red Foley. And this guy, Tom Foley, was the House Majority Leader.
Well, I heard about him.
Which is, as many people might know, a very important position. And Foley was a Democrat, and his district had really started to turn to Republican. But Foley had enough gravitas, enough experience, enough power to get the big Air Force base built out in Spokane, to get plane contracts for Boeing. You know, I mean, he's a heavy hitter. So he can get these things done. And so Spokane is humming. They got the dam. They got all these federal projects around there that people are working and making money and doing all this stuff. So, and this is, I guess, like the first year of the Tea Party.
I remember, yes.
Second year of the Tea Party. Well, Tom Foley, Speaker of the House, gets on the wrong side of somebody in the Tea Party, which probably doesn't, from what I've seen, there's neither tea served nor a party going on.
It's not a party, believe me.
Not a party.
You can bring your own tea, it still won't be a party.
Fascists,
yes,
who think that we all ought to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, except them.
There aren't any happy fascists. You're only going to find disgruntled fascists. Fascists are not happy people.
So they find this guy, George Nethercutt, to run on the Republican ticket against Foley. Foley seems like a lock, right? But they go out and they smear Foley enough.
Oh, dear.
That he loses the race to George Nethercutt.
And where's George today? Is he still in service?
Oh no, he's done. But the interesting thing is it was such a stupid thing to do, to vote out the House Majority Leader, who was supplying all of these pork barrel things going on. It naturally, the media ran to Spokane with their wheels on fire. Why? What did he do? He might have been the first majority leader of the House ever voted out of office. It just doesn't happen. Republican, Democrat, no matter who you are, if you're bringing home the bacon, people say,
bring it home.
Bring it home. We'd rather have bacon than the ideology.
Nethercutt can't bring in jobs, and he's not going to bring in an Air Force base.
He's a rookie member. He can't even get on committee assignments.
He has to do his own laundry.
He can't do anything. And the guy was a bit douchey to begin with. We met him a couple of times at Cougar games. So when the media goes out now to Spokane, they start to ask people, well, why did you vote him out of office? I mean, this guy was the House Majority Leader. He was the third most powerful person in the United States. He brought this project and that project and this project and this money and that building and all of this.
And you're driving downtown on the Tom Foley Freeway.
And you know what they said, Michael? You know what most people said?
Don't care.
No. They thought that when they elected Nethercutt, that he would become
the speaker.
The House Majority.
Oh my God. We have a problem, America. And it once again, it is us. We have seen the enemy and we are it.
They thought
he would inherit.
Many people who voted for Nethercutt thought that he would take Foley's job, as they weren't just electing a congressman, but they were electing the House.
And now, of course, Eastern Washington is off everybody's map. It is an unrepresented area of angry white people, and they've only themselves to blame for it.
So, again, I go back to the premise that we have used many times in the 2.5 years that we're doing this show.
Careful what you hope for.
Stupid can't be fixed.
No, don't even try. The parts aren't there. You can't get the parts.
Stupid is the only thing you can do for stupid is maybe educate people. But the stupidest people tend to be the ones that are so set in their ways that you can't educate them. Why do I want to go to school? They'll only teach me that liberal crap.
Let me help you with that math problem. Nope, I got it. And
I got it.
It's wrong, but it's close. And that's good enough for me.
Yep. I find that to be the second most incredible political story that I have ever heard.
And the success of the wrong guy, it was all based on the ignorance of the voter.
Yeah, it was just flat out voter ignorance that got this guy Foley. And listen, he was a conservative Democrat, but it wasn't conservative enough for these idiots out in Spokane. So they said, "Oh, we want to be more like Idaho."
Well, good luck to you there.
Well, you are.
Now, yeah, you're a good deal more like. You got zip.
There were transit plans that got canceled. There were roads that were supposed to be built that got canceled.
None of it happened.
Because George Nethercutt didn't have the juice to.
He didn't have a vote to keep it, that's for sure.
Squeeze out a shot glass.
George Nethercutt's last words were, "Hey, you guys, hey." Never heard another word from him.
George spent his days going to Cougar games. That was George's biggest thrill.
I represent this team. So, but he, like his voters, were good examples of what couging it means. If you don't know what a coug does when he cougs something, that's George Nethercutt. He couged it.
Well, no, Nethercutt didn't coug it. The people couged it. People in Nethercutt's running for the office. I don't think he's out there telling people that he's going to be the majority leader. That would be kind of.
But he might have been.
But he might have. You're right. You're right. I wasn't out there, so I don't know.
He might have hinted that he was going to be the majority leader. And I'll start building Air Force bases.
Yeah, I so remember meeting, because the first year we went out there, or maybe the second year we went out there, we met Foley. And because I remember being very impressed, I was meeting the Speaker of the House. Who was the guy? The guy that used to be the president of Wazoo. He loved us. Sam Schultz. Remember little Sam?
Yes.
Guy was built like a fire hydrant.
You got fire hydrants, and you got Sam.
He had federal fire hydrants put in. And Sam, and then the next year I remember going out there. I don't know if you went with me this time. And, or no, it was actually in Seattle. And Nethercutt was there.
Doing what? Lining the field?
Standing there looking stupid, which he did. as well as any Republican. Now, listen, Nethercutt might have been a nice guy. He wasn't like these Republicans we see today. He was just a Republican who decided he was going to run for office, and through an incredible, I mean, I'm sure that they thought he was a sacrificial lamb.
But even Nethercutt now is not mean enough to be a candidate for the GOP in these days.
No, nobody is out there. Now you got to be like this guy, Lorne Culp, who used to be a police chief and now wants to put everybody in jail.
Does he want to put everybody in the same cell? Do we get separate cells, or do we all get in one big cell? Because everybody is everybody.
I think Democrats all get one cell. Republicans get separate cells.
It's going to be crowded out there.
But you have this cult of idiocy that we've gone from demanding too much from our candidates so that they can be torn down quickly, to not demanding enough. I don't care who Tom Foley slept with. I care that he could bring money and jobs and recognition back to Spokane. That when a person called him up, they were calling somebody up with more juice than a regular congressman. Because
now,
he's been a long time, been a majority leader.
Now, though, Vinnie, there's no point in calling your congressman if he's a Republican, because he or she is going to vote no on everything. The answer before you get on the phone is, thanks for calling. The answer is no. I just want you to know and be certain about this, and tell your friends, I'm not going to do anything while I'm here. I'm doing nothing. My job is to, and I'm going to stop. I will stop anybody who wants to try.
Right. And please send me $1,000, 500 of which I have to send to Trump.
And do it today, if you're a patriot.
Matter of fact, hang on, I got my little credit card thing plugged into my computer. Just give me your number, we'll take it right here.
And they have that offshore. They have that
secretary. She'll take the number.
They have that offshore account in Slovakia where you don't know where the money is. You'll never know.
So that's Eastern Washington, man.
And that's a lot of America right now. They want to be like Idaho. It's like that in Idaho. It's like that in Kansas. It's like that in Louisiana. It's hard to believe. It's certainly like that in Texas. It's like that in the Dakotas. It's like that in West Virginia. It's like that in Florida. It's like that in Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee. You want me to name them all? Did I get all the Confederate states?
Because we know where they are. And I think at some point, now I know in Alabama's primary last night, they got rid of Mo Brooks.
CMO.
But the replacement sounds even scarier.
It's just, unfortunately, it's a rookie. Something terrible could happen. Things happen to rookies in Washington. They're hit crossing the street by a pie truck. Happens.
Well, yeah, but you know what? The thing you have now, though, Michael, is you have that dynamic of rookies has changed because of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I don't know anything, and I'm proud of it.
Now, instead of being a rookie and keeping your mouth shut and learning what's going on.
Nope.
And actually, you know what? It's easy to blame Marjorie Taylor Greene, but maybe the mold was set by Octavio Cortez, AOC, because she was a rookie that went to Congress and didn't want to learn the ropes, wanted to make the immediate impact.
She knows the difference between martial law and martial law.
Right.
But that's about the
right. Yeah. The only thing was that AOC is intelligent.
She went to Harvard.
Where I don't know what school Marjorie Taylor Greene went to, but
she got kicked out of Montessori preschool for fighting, and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it's. I don't think any school would actually claim her. But so this is what you have, Michael. you have this unintelligent electorate, uneducated electorate. They go and they elect unintelligent people. I mean, look at this clown out of Wisconsin, this Ron, what's his name?
Ron, the guy who delivered the
guy that
ballots.
they gave the votes to.
I can't remember his last name. Ron Wilson?
Not Jordan. I'm blanking on his name, but here's a guy. I mean, you talk about a dark light bulb. I mean, this guy doesn't have 10 watts to muster up.
Lights up the room like a 25-watt bulb.
So now you got this guy who I'm sure they picked to give him the alternate slate.
Make sure these get to Pence.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just
all I can think of is Ron Wotus, who used to coach third for the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
he's from Wisconsin, senator.
Yeah. It's just it is amazing. It's amazing what these people will do, what they'll accept,
and what their reality is like. Do they even have a list of things that they believe that they have to keep track of? What do I believe? What do I don't believe? I do believe that, but I don't believe that. There you go. Here's a headline that makes good sense. Bay Area police standoff ends after officer shoots homicide suspect. Don't you think that almost, you don't have to read the story. How did that standoff end? Oh, they killed him. Oh, put that in the headline.
There you go.
What happened there? The whole story's
really
done.
Need to read the paper.
You don't have to read much beyond that. I like that factor.
Ron Johnson is the guy that we're thinking of.
Thank you so much. New York Vinnie comes through. Ron Johnson, who's an idiot, nowhere near as plain toast as that name would suggest.
He's consistently voted one of the dumbest senator in the Senate.
He's a dumb boy. He will stand behind the donkey,
but he'll stand behind.
You don't have to ask him.
Yeah, that donkey will kick him.
Donkeys do that, and horses don't like you standing back there either, for that matter.
I don't like it much when you stand behind me anyway, either. To be honest, I just don't kick back that far.
Not as far as then he kicked me. Well, be fortunate he's not a horse. Were you standing behind him? Yes. Well, you bring these things on yourself.
He said it on a show that he specifically does not like people standing close behind.
Don't stand behind me. Don't do it. And you did it.
He gave you fair warning.
And all you do it, or you do it.
It's a very simple, a very simple thing.
I have a note here about the Warriors. Their parade was crazy. They were getting on and off the bus and going into bars and coffee shops and things and getting drinks and bringing them back to the bus. They'd take off their shirts and walk along beside the bus. They do a little dance with their things. Klay Thompson dropped his championship rings and had to retrieve them out of the crowd. He knocked a person down on the sidewalk trying to get to a person to give him an autograph. Nobody got hurt, but the parade organizer said no one's going to speak. Well, apparently that person had never come across Draymond Green. Now, when you tell Draymond Green that he can't speak, what do you think the end is going to be? He said that he loved all the fans and fuck everybody else. That was his message to the crowd. Love you, Warrior fans, and fuck everybody else. It was a great parade. Sunny day in San Francisco. Market Street was crazed. It was something to witness. Good job, Warriors.
Nobody killed. Nobody
killed. Everybody's happy. There are probably some Celtics fans who thought they were going to set things straight, but it didn't happen. It did not happen.
Well, really, what could they set straight? There's not much there to set straight, is there?
Well, you just want to do the Boston thing where you stand on the sidewalk and ask for it.
Oh my God. I
Your shirt reminds me. Giants won yesterday, 12-10 over Atlanta. You want to beat Atlanta at home? You better. Are you willing to score more than 10 runs? And if the answer is no, then the answer is you're going to lose to the Atlanta Braves at home. So 12-10 was the final. A lot of home runs, as you might expect. But the fact is, Atlanta come to hit the ball and to score some runs. And if you're not prepared to score 8 or 9 runs, then you can't play with that team. And I like it when the reality is so harsh. Boys, this game is just about to begin. If you don't give me 10 runs, I can't guarantee you anything.
Wow. Oh, man. Yeah, the Mariners are a mess up here. I mean, I don't know what is going to happen. You know, there are millions of calls to fire the manager. I mean, everybody that seems to be.
And
but
do what,
you know, Mikey, I remember taking phone calls in 98, 99 saying fire Lou Piniella.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
People, yeah. I mean,
because he was done. He's not Lou anymore.
He's not Lou. He doesn't have the fire in him anymore. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. There's only so far he could take the team. Yada yada yada. And the next season they win 116 games.
Well, my question when it's time to fire the coach, and I started saying this when George Karl got in hot water a couple of times, is okay, we're going to fire the coach, and we're going to do it today. Who you got? Who's your new coach? And don't tell me somebody. I mean, who you got in the bag ready to sign, take over tomorrow? And the answer is you got nothing.
Well, I mean, usually if you're a general manager, you got to have somebody that you have in mind, somebody that's your buddy. Usually somebody putting it in your ear, telling you.
Yeah, a Mariners solution is always hire the first base coach or the third base coach or the bench coach or the pitching coach.
Well,
hire nobody.
Not really. No, the Mariners solution is hire people that will say yes to whatever the front office wants.
Well, what the heck do they want? Is this what they want?
That they're so happy. I mean, they went out and they hired Bob Melvin, who was turned into a good manager. But as a rookie manager, he made a lot of mistakes. He was learning his way. Nice guy, but overmatched. They could have had Dusty Baker when they fired Piniella, or when Piniella left. They could have had Baker, but they didn't want somebody who would, they'd had enough with Lou of people who were going to tell them exactly what they were thinking.
Because Lou would speak his mind.
Because Lou would, say to the media, say to anybody who would listen what he was distressed about. And Dusty was going to come in and do this, basically the same thing, but he also would win games.
Right.
See, lost in that is that Lou would win games. But they didn't want that. They want somebody who would listen. They want a yes man.
They wanted the baseball man to listen to someone in a suit.
Right. They went out the next time and they said, okay, well, we won't get us such a yes man. We'll get Grover. Yeah, Mike Hargrove. And the problem with Mike Hargrove was he couldn't get along with Ichiro.
No.
And you know who was going to win that battle.
What did Ichiro do that got Hargrove all up and bothered?
I don't know. There was just something between those two, man, that they just never got along.
Wow. That's so weird.
And one day, I believe it was July 4th, if I'm not mistaken, a July 4th weekend, all of a sudden, get a phone call at 8 in the morning, press conference at 9:30.
Hargrove's out of here.
It's gone.
And of course, with Ichiro, you don't argue with one person, you argue with him and his translator.
Yeah, which is an unfair fight to begin with.
That's an unfair fight when you're not going to win. What did he say? I'm going to tell you what he said.
And the interesting thing to me was Ichiro probably spoke better English than me. But, they had the translator, they had the whole thing and yada, yada, yada. So they brought in Johnny McLaren to manage the team. He was, I believe, the first or third base. No, he was the bench coach at the time. and he failed miserably. And then they went through, a series of guys who were desperate to have a managerial job, really.
I've seen
Lloyd McClendon was, the guy that had thrown the base and was out of baseball for a couple of years. You go down the list of people. Eric Wedge. Who the hell ever heard of Eric Wedge?
I didn't.
But, coach for the Cleveland Indians. They never seem to go out and get the known commodity. The guy who has led people to something.
I want a front office and a manager that keeps the transaction list the hottest in baseball. If somebody's not hitting, get me somebody who can. Scour AAA, make a deal, make a trade, bring him in, get rid of that guy, bring in this guy. And I remember Bill Walsh used to do that. He never even knew the players' names. They had duct tape on their helmets. Vinnie, get in there and take the thing.
Yeah,
Vinnie,
take Montana's place.
And next day, the guy you took is gone, or you're gone, or you're both gone with two new guys in there. And that's how you build a team when you got nothing, when you're not winning, when you don't have.
People forget how pathetic the 49ers were when Walsh took over.
They could win 2 games, but you never knew which 2. It was a mystery all season long.
And when they did, they didn't tell you.
Nobody knew. They won. I'll be damned.
Won this game. Keep it quiet. When you go out to your cars out there, just keep it quiet.
And I believe in that approach to getting a team. Your team right now can't win, so what are you holding on to them for? Get yourself some guys who can win. And here's how you do it: you look all over the league for them. You bring up AAA. You make deals. You don't have a pat hand. Change your lineup. Change your people. Move them out.
Mikey, again, we talked about this on Monday. There seems to be something that happens to players
when
they get here to Seattle. I don't know if it's the water. I don't know if it's the rain, the atmosphere. I don't know what it is, but people fall off the face of the earth when they get here. It astounds me. I haven't done, a year-to-year comparison with 20 players and anything like that. I just know what I see, and I see what I know. And I can rattle off 6, 7, 8 players that have come here, were stars on other teams, and got here their way, and couldn't hit the ball to save their lives.
And all of them, did any of them regain their prowess with another team, or were they done?
I'm trying to think.
Well, there was Randy Johnson, but he didn't get traded to Seattle.
Yeah, his best time was with the Diamondbacks. Right. But he had some pretty incredible years here. Let's see. I'm trying to, Omar Vizquel went to Cleveland and had what many people consider to be a Hall of Fame career.
He had a real career.
He had a career that was very good on some very good Cleveland teams. And I think the only reason he's not going to go into the Hall of Fame is he's caught up in the Me Too movement.
Yeah, he had some trouble. Tino Martinez.
Trouble. And it's weird because it's hard for people that know him to actually believe that that's him.
Yeah.
Because he was such a nice guy to people. But, it happens. Richie Sexson hit a ton of home runs for the Brewers. Got here, hit a ton of home runs, but not much else. And there tended to be nobody on base when he hit him.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Uh,
Seventh inning, you're down 5 runs. He hits a homer.
yeah. Who was the other guy I'm thinking? Oh, Jeff Facero. The other guy, was great. They traded for him. He came here. Off the charts bad.
I wonder if that was the case.
Maybe he had one decent year, but got to where you didn't even want to see him come into games.
Now think of the opposite. Can you think of somebody who got traded from Kansas City or from Atlanta or from Miami? They show up in Seattle and they go hog wild.
Well, Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Arthur Rhodes. Relief pitcher Arthur Rhodes. I think when he got over here, he had some of his best years. Jose Mesa had a good year before he had 2 or 3 bad ones. And I think when he left, I forget what he did when he left, but I don't think he did all that well when he left. But he had a good year. Adrian Beltre, I don't think ever lived up to his potential, but yet was a good player. He wasn't the star he was with the Dodgers, but I think he played about as reasonably well as you would expect on a bad club. Who are the other guys? There were other guys that came here too that were just. Jack Wilson was an excellent shortstop with the Pirates, and they traded for him. And he got here, and when he wasn't hurt, he couldn't feel the ball. So there's something about, I don't know if it's Safeco. I don't know if it's
too much salmon.
The field. I don't know if it's the salmon. I don't know what the hell it is with players, but there's just so many players that come here. Who was the guy, the pitcher they got a few years ago? Cliff Lee was, I think, with the Indians before he came here. Came here and so bad they traded him in the middle of the year.
Well, let's go to the front office, because I always like to start at the top when you're dissecting a real team problem. Doesn't matter if it's football or baseball or even college sports sometimes. If there's trouble at the top and decisions are being made in a rather strange way by executives, decisions that cannot be justified later on, I always start there. And traditionally, the Mariners have had guys in suits who think they run the team. They think they play the game. They think they win the games. They think they lose the games, but they're never their teams. They're just the executives with a product. It's like it's never their fault.
Well, the only 2 good general managers I think that the Mariners have had was Woody Woodward and Pat Gillick. I mean, other than that, show me a good general manager. I mean, those are the only 2 managers that ever got the Mariners to the playoffs.
And why did they leave?
Gillick, I think, left after Piniella.
Enough is too much.
And I think that there was, I think he kind of had enough of the Mariners management, upper management style.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't have to deal with this.
That hands-off way of running the team manages to survive when many other elements of the Mariners change, but that stays the same.
And, Gillick was a guy who was, committed to winning. I mean, here's a guy that he did everything he could do to win every day. I mean, he came to the ballpark thinking of what moves he could make to win. That simple.
That's the job. The job is to win
games. He had it in his mind every day, and he knew how to do it. He knew he had a phenomenal knack of picking out guys that maybe didn't look like they were so good and getting them to play for him and selling them on the program, if you will.
Yeah, because you got to buy in.
But when you had Lou selling the program, it was easy to buy in. You brought guys in like Aaron Seeley, John Halama, who was a toss in on the Randy Johnson trade. You had, he just knew how to pick talent. And I don't think Halama was his. I think Halama was still Woody Woodward's. But Woody was another guy who never got the credit for what he had put together. I mean, you talk about a guy, you talk about somebody who brought talent in. Here's a guy who managed to get talent when everybody in the world thought that the team was leaving town. Where am I going? Well, right now you're going to Seattle, but before you come, check with us.
Yeah, don't get on the plane without giving me a ringy dingy, okay, buddy?
Yeah. Give me a call from the airport. We just want to make sure you don't have to go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Where am I going next? Just go to the bar and wait for my call. I don't know what team wants you yet.
Yeah, I mean, some of the moves. I mean, yeah, you could say that some of the moves were questionable. That what do you mean? I think you can say that some of the moves any general manager makes.
The idea is make the moves and try to improve the team and
roll the dice.
And you don't have a pat hand. You got to keep moving.
If you want to win, you got to change. You got to know what's wrong with your club, and you have to change to do it. Pat too was another guy who kept his eye on these independent leagues, and he brought guys in because I don't know, his budget was certainly more than Woody Woodward's, but Pat had a finger on the pulse of these northern, Minnesota, North Dakota, those independent leagues that play up there during the 2 months of nice weather. And he brought more than one guy in from those leagues.
If you can hit, bring him in. Bring him in and get a hit. That's it. That's your job. You're not fishing anymore. Get a hit.
Yeah, get out there, get a hit, move a runner over. And when you match that with Lou, I think you had a pretty good combination. But the Mariners figured, well, what the hell? We don't want our people talking to the media about us. So
yeah, I could be wrong, but what strikes me over all the years that I've watched the Mariners is, with a few wonderful exceptions, there's a lack of fire in the front office and the dugout on the field. Not unprofessionals, not untalented, not uncommitted, but there's a lack of something that's not there that you see immediately in a championship team. When the Warriors take the court, when the Yankees take the field, when Tom Brady is running the offense, there's no doubt in your mind what they intend to do.
Right. Bill Belichick walks into that stadium, and he's there for one reason and one reason only.
I'm not here to say Heidi High and Heidi Ho. We're going to beat you. We're here to beat you. I love that attitude.
Yeah. I think that's also that's what I see in Tomlin with the Steelers. It's the same thing. His job is to win games.
Nothing else.
Nothing else really matters. His job is to put quality players out on the field, know how to use those players to win games.
And the proviso that comes along with that is the responsibility to put the guys out there who win. Now, if they don't score, if they don't hit the ball, if they don't play defense, you've got to make the change. You got to get somebody in there who will, and not tomorrow. It's the seventh inning. Change him now. Get him out.
Right.
Get him out of there.
If a guy's not performing, he doesn't. It's Gabe Kaplan. If you're not performing, we have somebody somewhere. They'll be happy to put that uniform on and give it their effort.
He's Mr. Right now. If you're a relief pitcher for the Giants, you better be warm in the first inning and you better stay warm because he's coming to you today.
Well, that's this whole new philosophy of the opener. Now we have the opener, we have the middle guy, and we have the closer.
It's a somebody. What are you? I'm a pitcher. Well, we'll find a spot for you. You'll be somebody.
I don't know if I like that, but it's how the game is changing. Pretty soon you'll see 6 pitchers in a game, 7.
Kapler will do that because if his starter is not showing promise at the second inning, he doesn't hold on to him to the 5th inning when it's 7-5 and they can't catch up. He knows the way to the mound and he finds himself out there often.
Yeah, and I think that's a, there's well, I don't know. You can look at it 2 ways. I know Lou never liked to do that because he thought that it made the pitcher, it was tough on the pitcher's psyche. It was, and it's funny because you think about it from Lou, but it was tough for Lou to he wanted loyalty from his people. And he wanted to show that he had loyalty to them.
Well, the Ozark Kapler deals with that loyalty, doing the very same thing that you're talking about. He takes a guy out of the game and says, I'll see you tomorrow. And he means it. You will be pitching tomorrow. Be ready by the 5th inning. And that's the way they run their bullpen. You're out of here. Give me the ball. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's how they run it.
Yeah. See, Lou had defined places for people. Like I remember some reporter once asked Lou, says, well, why did you use X guy as a closer? Why did you use him in that game? Well, because he's my closer. Well, yeah, but he got lit up, how come he didn't go out? Because he's my closer.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. Now, I don't know if Lou was just at one point just flipping the guy crap because he just didn't want to answer his question.
Well, he didn't. Who would you have brought in? He didn't have really that many alternatives on that.
Well, I don't know. But to Lou and to, I think, many managers, that was the guy he was going with. He had that much faith in him. He had that much trust in him. Some days that works for you and some days it doesn't.
How are the Mets doing it this year? How are they handling their pitching? Are they pulling them quick or are they letting them go?
No, they're letting them go. I mean, listen, Buck Showalter seems to know how to handle a pitching staff.
I appreciate it.
Amazing, but Buck Showalter seems to be pulling every right string in the world.
It's fun to win, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's fun to be in a position where you can't wait for the game to start the next day. You want to, when you see the scoreboard on your watch or your phone or whatever, and you see the Met game with the little numbers when they're just about to start going up, you get excited. You want to know. You're checking all the time. It was like that here last year, the end of last year. People got really interested in the people here are starved to be interested in the Mariners.
Show me something.
They're starved. You went around town the end of last season, and it was like it felt like 1990. Well, not 95. That was special, but like 97 or 2000, all over again. It just had that you rushed home from work so you could be in front of the TV to watch the game. If you drove down the street, you heard cars, 3, 4, 5 cars with the game on. That's what it's supposed to be like.
That's what it is like.
It hasn't happened like that for the Mariners for 21 years.
It's a long drought.
It's a long drought, man. That tests the fortitude and mettle of fans.
And the idea of rebuilding taking 3 years is something that I think modern baseball proves is not the real ratio. You can rebuild and do something in 1 year. you can make the changes in your team that are dynamic and produce results immediately. And the Mendoza line cutoff should be higher than that. I mean, if the best you can do, if you're my shortstop and 220 is the best you can hit, can I find somebody in AAA somewhere for some team that can hit 240? If you're a first baseman and you've never hit 300 in your life, can't I find a first baseman somewhere that can hit 300?
I blame it on the designated hitter.
I blame it on the Smokey Burgess rule.
I think that the designated hitter has hurt this game immensely. And one day I'm going to actually come up with a good reason why.
Because it sticks in your craw.
Well, like we heard yesterday, we have a lot of theories, but we don't have any evidence.
That's that should be the title of my new album. Lots of theories, but no evidence.
That was maybe the best line in the whole hearings.
More entertaining than Ferranti and Teicher. Oh, Vinnie, it's been a wacky Wednesday, hasn't it?
It certainly has, man. Time to blow this joint. So I will see you on Friday.
Will it be a freaky, fractious Friday? That's what I want to know.
Well, today was a Pledge Stamps Wednesday, so let me look at the schedule. Yes, it'll be a freaky, fractious Friday. And remember, if you're listening to us, you should call your family members and have them all listening, because we're going to have a special announcement.
And free stamps.
It's a free ticket Friday. They're not good for anything.
It's not good for a damn thing. So freak out on your own and don't miss us for a freaky, fractious Friday. 10 in the West.
Catch up with you Friday morning if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, Pally.
What about the wine?
Oh, well, yeah. Peace, love, and Manischewitz.
What a wine, baby. See you, Ben.
What a wine. See you, Mikey. And thank you all for listening. We always appreciate it.